Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. My name's GBay99. I hope you all are having a wonderful day. Today, we're back with yet another League of Legends video where today, we're going to be taking some time to talk about League history. I don't know about you guys, but I always get super nostalgic in the spring and fall when the seasons are changing and the air is cool. I always find myself looking back to the good old days of playing RuneScape and getting into League of Legends while growing up. I'd say I'm not alone in this, as this is the time of year that typically has a lot of people coming out of the woodwork in the League community saying that League of Legends used to be so good, but nowadays it just sucks. So let's take a look at this question honestly for a second here. Did League of Legends used to be better than it is today? Well, objectively speaking, no, not in the slightest. People often look back to Season 2 in particular with rose-tinted goggles and thinking a lot about how when they were first getting into the game, how exciting it was to discover all the champions, all their abilities, all the strategies and the gameplay. Following the competitive scene in this time too, which ended up in one of the biggest upsets in League of Legends history as Taipei Assassins beat Azubu Frost, the Korean favorites. What they don't remember is how the map looked compared to today. Just taking a look at the graphics and how awful they are compared to our new Summoner's Rift. Think about how awful the game ran on computers as well, how difficult it was to pull a solid 60 frames a second on really any machine. People don't remember the not so good stuff like Evelynn pre-rework. You guys remember that? Like, look at this gameplay right here. See how Evelynn is just walking right up next to who she's ganking and then using her free stun out of stealth to set up kills? Yeah, that was sure fun to play against back in the day, wasn't it? When you take a look at League of Legends today, especially with all the new stuff we have in the upcoming season, and compare it to where we were even just a few years ago, we are undoubtedly in a better place right now. It would be hard to argue otherwise, especially with stuff like solo queue coming back, a sandbox mode, and finally replays. However, with all that being said, I do concede that there are benefits to playing a game that isn't the largest PC game in the world. There's some stuff from back in the day that I really do miss, and today I want to take some time to talk about it. I want to take a little bit of a trip down memory lane. As much as I love League in its current state, these are my 5 favorite memories looking back on League of Legends history. Number 1, Mirc. Okay, so before Twitch exploded into the gigantic streaming platform that it's turned into, there used to be a little bit of competition in the streaming space, notably from a site called Owned TV. This is the site that a lot of League of Legends streamers were on in Season 1 and Season 2, streaming on that site until it eventually went bankrupt. People remember a couple of different things about this site, that some of them are good, some of them are bad. Doublelift probably remembers the $20,000 that they currently owe him, but one of the things that I remember in particular is the Mirc chats. This was a program that you had to use if you wanted to chat to streamers. Download it, set your username, hop into a chat room. There was one built into the website that you could use to see what people were saying and hop in and out of chats really quickly if you wanted, but most people would just download the full Mirc client and hang out in all their favorite streamers' chat rooms at once. Why was this a big deal? Well, currently, if you go into a League of Legends stream, you just see spam in Twitch chat. Now, I will admit, you guys know me, I love spam. I have virtually no restrictions on my own chat because of it, but for the most part, it seems like in a lot of other League of Legends chats, people don't really use the chat to actually communicate with anyone else. It's funny when the chat comes together and every once in a while makes a clever joke, but these moments are few and far between. A lot of the spam that you guys see in chat nowadays are just telling you X region is greater than Y, this player is boosted, that caster is awful. This largely comes from the fact that it's just so easy to make an account and start shouting whatever the hell you want into the void of Twitch chat. Back when things were a little more difficult and there was a little barrier to entry in actually chatting, this encouraged people to use chat rooms to actually talk to each other and hold conversations. You felt like you were actually hanging out in a room with other people. You could private message the streamer and they would often respond to whatever you asked on stream. Each style of chat lends to some pretty fun ways of communicating. This isn't to say that Twitch chat right now doesn't have things that Mirc didn't have back in the day, but right now I can't help but feel that the grass is a little bit greener on the other side. Number 2, non-League of Legends streams. Okay, so I don't actually know what to title this point, but one of my personal favorite memories of watching old League streams wasn't actually from watching the League gameplay itself. It was from watching what pros and big League celebrities did outside of the games. One of the most famous examples of this was Hotshot GG's Amnesia stream, where his audience made him play the scariest trending game at the time. Now, this might sound pretty boring to you guys, since currently we have thousands of YouTube channels dedicated to overreacting to scary games, and it's a really low form of entertainment nowadays. nowadays with how repetitive and awful it's turned into, but keep in mind, this was in 2010, a full 2 years before PewDiePie started blowing up on YouTube. This was the first time a lot of us got to watch someone else react to scary games, watching real reactions too, and it made streamers feel like they had a lot more personality.
Fuck. Oh my god! What the fuck? I just fucking passed you! What the fuck? How is that even possible? What the fuck? Like, what the fuck?
This clip of Hotshot reacting to Amnesia actually turned into a little bit of a joke where people would take his reaction and put it on top of other things. For instance, you guys know Hotshot, the owner of CLG, and Reginald, the owner of TSM, were rivals, especially back in this time when they both played the game and were both trying to get #1 on the ladder.
Oh my god! What the fuck? I just fucking passed you! What the fuck? How is that even possible?
It kind of felt like you would watch a stream just as much for what was happening in between games as you would for the gameplay. Hotshot was the big stream that I watched back in the day, obviously, so a lot of my memories come from him. But whether you were watching someone do a playthrough of another game, watching someone not understanding how to put a couch together, or watching him get random locked into a game because he fell asleep on that couch, it was all just as entertaining, if not more so, than the Pro League of Legends gameplay you initially clicked on the stream for. Number 3, the Elo system. Okay, so this is something that I completely understand why it changed, but I can't help but miss how things used to be. You guys all know how we currently use the LP system, the league point system, that you earn points 1 to 100 as you jump up divisions and leagues, climbing your way to Challenger, right? Each 100 point mark gets you to a promo series where if you win a majority of the games, then you advance, and it's a little harder to fall back down below where you just came from. Well, the reason for this system was partially because people complained about the old Elo system. The Elo system is what we had up until all of that changed, where it's your typical 4-digit rating system where you started off at 1200 rating, and then as you climbed, eventually there were some really good players at the higher ratings near 2000. You had bronze and silver, gold and platinum at random ratings. Bronze went from 1250 to 1399, silver was 1400 to 1519, gold was 1520 to 1699, and platinum was 1900 and above. The reason we changed it is because these ratings would get really frustrating at the end of the season if a player had a skill level of, let's say, exactly 1400 elo, and he'd be going win, lose, win, lose, win, lose, hopping between bronze and silver as the end of the season quickly approached. There was no buffer to keep him from falling with a single loss and losing his potential rewards, so a lot of players would just stop playing ranked, or if they decided to keep playing, would get super stressed. Again, it makes complete sense why we use the LP system now, but I can't help but miss using that old rating system. There's something more characteristic about the numbers rather than the divisions, I feel like. Like, it doesn't matter if you're gold 3 or gold 2 right now, you're just going to be viewed as gold. But in the old Elo system, every 100 Elo felt like it meant a new tier. 1800 Elo is where a lot of trolls like Gracchus laid in wait, ready to ruin your games with Flame and Twitch feed. 2000 is where people started getting a little bit better, and you saw some pros like Rainman, Elements, and some others who still needed improvement, running all the way up to 3000 Elo, which was eventually broken by Pharrell and Lord, a pretty insane record, the only player that's ever gotten 3K Elo. This might just be me looking back with rose-tinted goggles, but I can't help but miss some of the character that old rating system left behind. Number 4, vlogs. I miss when pro players and faces of the community actually made vlogs for events. This is something that's another personal gripe, but I'm sure it isn't hard to see what I mean. Nowadays, we have a ton of insight into pro players' lives with all sorts of reality shows, interviews, streams, and whatnot, but it's all a little manufactured. If a team goes to an event nowadays, it's typically not the players who are worried about vlogging that experience. They just focus on playing the game, and the organization will put together some sort of video showcasing the trip. I miss when players actually did this on their own. Elements was a big example. Whenever CLG, or eventually Curse when he switched teams, would go to Germany, China, or a MLG event, he'd make a vlog of himself, just uncut, a real life experience that was honestly pretty cool, getting to see all these cultures in different countries from the player's perspective. Seeing a team go out to dinner and just talk about whatever, or seeing them do Red Bull vodka shots before their games of the day, was a really fun and entertaining thing to watch. One of the reasons the internet vlog is has risen to fame was because a lot of people wanted to be entertained by something that was real. As sites like YouTube were first coming into their own, people were realizing that reality TV isn't all that real. It's pretty scripted, aka fake, aka not reality. That's one of the big reasons internet vlogging exploded in the first place, seeing this real side of a person, and in this instance, seeing the real side of players' lives made for really good entertainment. It's kind of sad to see we're slipping back into that no more personal vlogs, just reality TV shows. And finally, number 5, I miss when League of Legends wasn't the biggest game in the world. I think in earlier seasons, we all had the feeling in the pit of our guts that League could blow into something big. A lot of people thought that was crazy and that it would never get off the ground, but seeing it all unfold was a super exciting thing, and I think it's awesome just how far League has come after all these years. But with that being said, we sure as hell take a lot for granted now. Between all sorts of big organizations investing in esports teams, between Coca-Cola sponsorships, between the millions of dollars in prizes and stream revenue, and all the huge contracts players get, it's so easy to forget that we're pretty much the only popular game that gets to enjoy this level of comfortable success. That's not to say that there aren't other big games out there, but back when League was just kicking off, it was so much more exciting to see the first big sponsorships that were coming, seeing Nissan sponsor Curse, watching the Season 1 prize pool that seemed enormous at $100,000, when there were all these personalities from all these different regions trying new and cool things with the game. It just felt like everything was so new and exciting. Like back when every 80 carry ran armor pen marks, and it wasn't until Wicked came along and started using flat AD that people saw a revolution in the meta, and being able to see revolutions in the meta so quickly on the turn of a dime just from one rune change, it was just an exciting time to see this undiscovered Wild West in how people played the game and thinking about how far it might go. At this point, I'm probably just tripping off nostalgia, but damn, it's hard to not miss those days. To round things off here, I want to say the point of this video isn't to suggest that League used to be better off than it is now. Honestly, the point of this video was partially for selfish reasons. I wanted to have a little bit of fun remembering my first few days getting into League and maybe catalog this so I can come back and enjoy it again later. League is undoubtedly in a better place right now than it's ever been before, and I'm really excited for the new season, but it's hard to forget how far we've come and just how many memorable moments we've had along the way.